This is Nightline and I'm Muhammed Ahmad Hamdan. News making the headlines. 25 victims trapped by water surge at Sungai Pisang rescued. And Malaysia ends campaign at Paris Olympic with tragedy. Good morning. It was a sad end for Shah Firdaus and the Malaysian Paris Olympic contingent. The national track cyclist crashed in the final lap of the men's keirin final on Sunday, shattering Malaysia's hopes of a first-ever Olympic gold medal. Lose control and fall. The initial results showed Shah being in 4th place, but it was later updated on the official games website, where he was relegated to a 6th place finish. Heads down the curtain on Malaysia's Olympic Games campaign with only 2 bronze medals to show. The Fire and Rescue Department rescued 25 people trapped by a water surge at Sungai Pisang, Selayang at around 1:30 p.m. on Sunday. Selangor Fire and Rescue Department Operations Division Assistant Director Ahmad said they received a distress call at 1:41 p.m. and dispatched a team of 6 firefighters to the scene. The operations commander reported that they found 25 people trapped by the water surge when they arrived at the scene and began work to rescue them. All 25 victims, consisting of 20 locals and 5 Indonesians aged 20 to 40, were rescued and brought to safety. During the incident, the group was enjoying their outing as they walked from Kuala Lumpur towards Karak along the river before getting trapped in the river tunnel. He said another group of 39 people who used the tunnel from Karak to Kuala Lumpur managed to escape safely without the help of firefighters. In Malacca, several areas in Masjid Tanah Alor Gajah were hit by flash floods following prolonged downpour on Sunday morning. Continuous rain since 5 a.m. resulted in residential areas and the town of Masjid Tanah being submerged under nearly 1 meter of water. According to the State Disaster Management Committee, the affected areas are mostly situated in Air Limau, Lendu and Taboh Naning constituencies. And a total of 248 victims from 48 families were evacuated to 6 temporary relief centres as of 8:30 p.m. Sunday. Most of the victims were from Kampung Paya Lebar, Ramuan Cina Besar, Bukit Apit, Kampung Air Limau, Kampung Sungai Jernih, Kampung Lekok, Taman Masjid Tanah Ria and Taman Bandar Baru Masjid Tanah. Meanwhile, the Malacca state government will channel immediate aid of 300 ringgit to flood victims in Masjid Tanah. Chief Minister Datuk Seri Abdul Rauf Yusof said the cash aid will be channeled to victims who have registered themselves at relief centres in the affected areas.
Minta semua mangsa-mangsa banjir mendaftar diri di tempat pusat penempatan sementara untuk didaftarkan sebagai mangsa banjir dan akan diberi bantuan segera sebanyak RM300. Ini adalah merupakan kejadian banjir sejak 12 tahun dulu yang tak pernah berlaku balik, yang ini berlaku dan kebanyakannya dalam pekan banjir tanah ini semua kawasan dinaiki air.
He said this to the media after visiting the flood victims in Masjid Tanah on Sunday. He added that the state government will continue efforts to find the best solution to overcome the flooding in a comprehensive manner. A total of 248 evacuees from 14 areas in Masjid Tanah have been moved to 5 relief centres since Sunday afternoon. In Terengganu, 2 bodies were found while 2 other individuals were reported missing following a collision between a fishing boat and a barge in the waters off Kemaman early on Sunday morning. The incident occurred at about 7 nautical miles or 13 kilometres off the coast of Kuala Kemaman at around 6:30 a.m. The first victim, identified as 29-year-old Siti Zamimah from Selayang, Selangor, was found at around 7 a.m. together with 5 survivors. The second body of 50-year-old Shahril Ismail was found by anglers in an area 5 nautical miles from where the boat capsized at around 1 p.m. The body was brought to the Kuala Kemaman jetty and sent to the Kemaman Hospital Forensics Unit for identification and autopsy. Those missing were identified as 66-year-old Yusuf from Raut Pahang and 25-year-old Aina Husna Muhammad Husani from Selayang. Kemaman Maritime Zone Operations Deputy Director Muhammad Faisal Abdul Rahim said 4 assets from the Malaysia Maritime Enforcement Agency (MMEA), the Marine Police and the Royal Malaysian Navy, along with 20 personnel and officers, were involved in the search. The search location has been divided into 3 sectors managed by 3 of the rescue agencies. Also in Terengganu, a 4-year-old boy drowned while swimming in a pool at a resort in Kuala Nerus. The victim, Muhammad Al-Fatih Ahmad Bakri, was unconscious when found by a passerby at 5 p.m. on Saturday. Kuala Terengganu District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Azli Muhammad Noor said the victim was believed to have followed his older siblings, aged 12 and 14, into the pool without being noticed, while the victim's mother was attending to his 1-year-old sibling nearby. They were made aware of the incident after hearing shouts from other visitors who brought the victim poolside and attempted to resuscitate him. The victim was sent to the Seberang Takir Health Clinic and was pronounced dead by medical personnel. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim visited the Bukit Mahmudiyah Royal Mausoleum on Sunday in conjunction with Hari Hall for Almarhum Sultan Iskandar. Also in attendance were the Regent of Johor, Tunku Mahkota Ismail, and the Raja Muda Johor, Tunku Iskandar Abdul Jalil, Tunku Panglima Johor, Tunku Abdul Rahman Al-Haj Sultan Ibrahim, and Tunku Putra Johor, Tunku Abu Bakar Al-Haj Sultan Ibrahim. Hari Hall is a day to commemorate the passing of previous Johor sultans, a tradition that began in 1896, a year after the death of Sultan Abu Bakar. Moving on, efforts to maintain the country's independence need to be supported by all levels of society, including leaders, despite different backgrounds and political understandings. Plantation and Commodity Minister Datuk Sri Johari Abdul Ghani said that despite bringing different ideologies, political stability, economic development and the well-being of the people cannot be compromised. Johari, who is also the Titi Wangsa Member of Parliament, said in order to ensure that the country's independence is maintained for generations to come, the country cannot return to the way it was before independence.
Ini sangat penting kita pastikan bahawa setiap daripada kita sebagai rakyat Malaysia dan juga mana-mana pemimpin tak kira parti politik, kita bertanggungjawab untuk memastikan kestabilan politik, pembangunan ekonomi yang begitu mantap dan baik dan juga kesejahteraan rakyat.
Johari said this at the media conference after launching and flagging off the Merdeka Kembara convoy at Pasar Wirawati in Kuala Lumpur on Sunday. Earlier, Johari received the Jalur Gemilang baton as a continuation of the Jalur Gemilang Merdeka Tour 2024 at the Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya Federal Territories level. Johari also spent time socializing and distributing Jalur Gemilang to the local community before the flag-off of the convoy. In Malacca, a 50-year-old government department director and his 49-year-old deputy are among 4 individuals arrested by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) for allegedly receiving bribes close to 177,000 ringgit as inducements for approvals of payments relating to contract works. The other 2 suspects are civilians, a woman and a man aged 34 and 62. Believed to be associated with the company that was awarded the contracts. All 4 were arrested by the state MACC when they were summoned to the Graftbusters headquarters in Alai at 5 p.m. on Saturday to have their statements recorded. High Court Registrar Rafidah Cik Aziz granted an order for the 3 male suspects to be remanded for 3 days starting Sunday, while the female suspect will be remanded for 1 day. The 4 suspects were arrested to assist in investigations under Section 18 of the MACC Act for making false claims. Now, the man wanted by police in connection to the murder of his parents and niece, whose bodies were discovered following a house fire in Paya Redan Pagoh last Friday, is believed to have fled the area. Muar District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Rais Mukhlis Aziz said the police are actively tracking down the suspect, identified as 48-year-old Azman Muhammad. Azman is a key individual in the investigation as he lived with the victims. He was reported missing on the day of the incident, which claimed the lives of 82-year-old Muhammad Nur Muhammad Yassin and his wife, 76-year-old Ara Abdul Hamid, as well as their granddaughter, 11-year-old Nur Adriana Nur Hashim. The remains of Muhammad and his wife were found inside the house, while Nur Adriana passed away while receiving treatment at the Sultana Fatimah Specialist Hospital. Nur Adriana's sister, 14-year-old Nurazima Muhammad Radi, sustained injuries to her head and hands, but managed to escape and seek help from neighbors. "75,000 Palestinians forced to leave their homes." This and more from the Foreign Front when we return.
Tugas digalas setiap daripada mereka berbeza. Namun intipatinya sama, demi kesejahteraan dan keselamatan negara. Istimewa Majalah 3, Sri Kandi dan Pertiwi di dunia pertahanan negara.
Pasar Raya, Lubuk Pati salah guna permit.
You tak ada permit lagi ya?
Ada.
Permit tu mati yang tadi tu.
Tapi permit lain.
Anggota cedera dirempuh warga asing.
Tadi pukul
Taklah pukul.
officer.
Tak ada.
Jadi saya tangkap kau masih lari kan.
Kena ada itu cakap dengan immigration ni kan.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
We're back with news on the foreign front. The Zionist regime ordered the evacuations of 75,000 Palestinians in southern Gaza on Sunday, just days after many of them were allowed to return. The latest evacuation orders apply to areas in Khan Yunis, including part of an Israeli-declared humanitarian zone. Palestinian civilians say there is no safe place in the entire Gaza Strip, as this was the regime's third military operation in Khan Yunis alone since October. Meanwhile, medics and survivors of the Zionist attack on a school collected body parts of victims and searched for the missing, as world leaders continued to condemn the bombing that killed more than 100 people. Countries around the world have denounced the Zionist strike that killed at least 100 displaced Palestinians in a Gaza school, renewing calls for an immediate ceasefire. In a statement, the White House said it was deeply concerned about reports of civilian casualties following the strike and was seeking more information. It added that the strike underscores the urgency of a ceasefire. At the same time, a statement from the French Foreign Ministry noted that for several weeks, school buildings have been repeatedly targeted, with an intolerable number of civilian victims. It also stressed that Israel must respect international humanitarian law. Meanwhile, British Foreign Minister David Lammy on X wrote that he was appalled by the Zionist military strike on Al-Tabeen school and the tragic loss of life, adding that they need an immediate ceasefire to protect civilians, free all hostages and end the restrictions on aid. In the meantime, Malaysia has condemned in the strongest terms the inhumane attack by Israel on the Al-Tabeen school. The Foreign Ministry said the deliberate targeting of a school used by displaced Palestinians for refuge is not only a flagrant violation of international law, international humanitarian law and human rights law, but it is also a grievous crime against humanity. Wisma Putra, in a statement, stressed that Israel has clearly shown once again that it has no desire for peace. It added that the international community should no longer tolerate and accept the belligerence of Israel, and an immediate, urgent and decisive action by the United Nations Security Council is needed in order to enforce a permanent ceasefire, to allow humanitarian aid to flow unimpeded into Palestine and hold the Zionist regime accountable for its war crimes. Now, as violent protest rages on in the United Kingdom, 10 police officers were injured after petrol bombs, fireworks and heavy masonry were thrown during disorder in Londonderry. One person had been arrested in the early hours of Sunday after police brought in their public order dog unit and warned that the unrest presented a serious risk to their safety. The violence broke out on Saturday afternoon at the end of a parade. According to local media, the perpetrators were nationalist youth. Separately, a petrol bomb was thrown at a mosque in County Down in the early hours of Saturday in an incident described by police as racially motivated. The mosque in New Townards was attacked at around 1 a.m. local time with graffiti sprayed on the front door and walls of the building. Fortunately, police said the petrol bomb did not ignite. The Iranian parliament on Sunday has confirmed the receipt of President Masoud Pezeshkian's list of proposed ministers for his new cabinet. The country's parliament speaker announced the names of the 19-member cabinet during an assembly session broadcast live on state television. One of the names read out includes former chief nuclear negotiator Abbas Araghchi as the nominee for foreign minister. Pezeshkian also included a woman, Farzaneh Sadiq, as the candidate for the Ministry of Roads and Transportation. Farzaneh was met with criticism when lawmakers voiced their opposition after hearing her name read out. Meanwhile, the list revealed that despite Pezeshkian's promises to include non-Shia ministers in his cabinet, there were no Sunni ministers among the proposed nominees. Brazilian authorities said all bodies have been recovered from the site of a plane crash in the state of Sao Paulo, which killed everyone on board. According to officials, the bodies, 34 males and 28 females, were moved to a police morgue in the city of Sao Paulo, where they will be identified and released to the families. Meanwhile, the number of casualties was revised upwards on Saturday to 62. Vopas Airlines earlier said that the ATR 72-500 was carrying 57 passengers and 4 crew. It was later confirmed there was another unaccounted for passenger on the flight. At this stage, it is not known what caused the aircraft to crash. However, the plane's black box containing voice recordings and flight data is now undergoing analysis in a lab in Brasilia. An alliance of more than 60 prominent Australians on Sunday demanded the government impose a total ban on gambling ads after losses were put at nearly $16.5 billion a year. The letter sent to Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and the opposition leader states that gambling advertising is out of control, with 1 million ads being aired on free-to-air television and radio in just 1 year. Signatories to the letter included former political unions, sports and faith leaders. They urged the government to agree to outlaw all gambling advertising within 3 years. Former Prime Minister John Howard, who was among the signatories, said he believes gambling losses are responsible for enormous harm throughout the community. Local media said the government is now expected to announce proposed legislation within weeks, possibly opting for limits instead of a total advertising ban. share the spoils with Kuching City. Sports when we come back.
Tugas digalas setiap daripada mereka berbeza. Namun intipatinya sama, demi kesejahteraan dan keselamatan negara. Istimewa Majalah 3, Sri Kandi dan Pertiwi di dunia pertahanan negara.
Berkorban demi cinta, sama seperti Romeo dan Juliet.
Betul.
Dengan mereka berdua meminum racun rumpai.
11 pagi semalam dirancang suspek berusia 36 tahun.
Ini seolah-olah cinta tiga segi di antara si mati dan bakal tunangnya dengan tertuduh.
We're back with sports for the 2024 Paris Olympics. The Netherlands' Sifan Hassan deployed her famous late kick to win the women's marathon, adding the goal to her bronze medals in the 5,000 and 10,000 metres earlier in the week. A London Marathon winner in 2023, 31-year-old Hassan finished in a time of 2 hours, 22 minutes and 55 seconds, 3 seconds ahead of Ethiopian Tigst Assefa. In the weightlifting event, Georgia's Shah won his third Olympic title with a dominant performance. The 30-year-old lifted a total of 470 kilograms to prevail in a dramatic three-way battle in the men's over 102 kilograms class. In the athletics event, the United States won both 4x400 relay finals in the last track action. In a tight finish to the men's race, Ray Benjamin held off Botswana's Letziel Tobago on the anchor leg to give the US an Olympic record time of 2 minutes 54.43 seconds. The joy for the US team continued as a star-studded women quartet led by Sydney McLaughlin Levrone took the gold. They recorded a time of 3 minutes 15.27 seconds, leaving the Netherlands to be satisfied with silver. In the artistic swimming event, twin sisters Wang Liuyi and Wang Tianyi of China claimed the country's first gold medal in the duet category. The twins received 566.4783 points ahead of Great Britain's Kate Shortman and Isabel Thorpe and Dutch sisters Brechtje and Noortje de Brouwer.
In volleyball, top-ranked Italy dominated the US to win the women's volleyball final, crushing the defending champions in straight sets to claim their first gold medal on the final day of the Games. Paola Egonu was the star of the show after the 25-year-old finished with 22 points and 4 blocks as Italy sealed a 25-18, 25-20, 25-17 victory.
And on to football, the Super League. 2 matches were played on Sunday. PDRM FC clinched a 2-1 victory over Negeri Sembilan FC, while Kuching City FC had to be satisfied with a share of points after they were held to a 2-2 draw by Penang FC. Playing at the Sarawak State Stadium, Penang FC opened the scoring in the 38th minute through Brazilian João Ferreira, before Rodrigo Diaz extended their lead 4 minutes later. Zahrul Nizwan managed to pull one back for Kuching 14 minutes into the second half, with Cheche Kipre salvaging a point for the hosts in the 78th minute. With the 2-2 scoreline, PDRM stood in 5th place with 11 points, 2 spots above Penang. Body of disabled elderly woman found. The details after this short break.
Pasar Raya, Lubuk Pati salah guna permit.
You tak ada permit lagi ya?
Ada.
Permit tu mati yang tadi tu.
Tapi permit lain.
Anggota cedera dirempuh warga asing.
Tadi pukul
taklah pukul.
Officer.
Tak ada.
Jadi saya tangkap kau masih lari kan?
Kena ada itu cakap ini immigration ni kan.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Berkorban demi cinta, sama seperti Romeo dan Juliet.
Betul.
Dengan mereka berdua meminum racun rumpai.
11 pagi semalam, dirancang suspek berusia 36 tahun.
Ini seolah-olah cinta tiga segi di antara si mati dan bakal tunangnya dengan tertuduh.
Welcome back. The 14-year-old girl who was arrested for impersonating a medical officer at the Sultan Idris Shah Hospital in Serdang has been referred to the Sepang Welfare Department, JKM. Selangor Police Chief Dr. Hussein Omar Khan said the decision was made as the girls were still a juvenile. Hussein said investigation papers are still being completed and the police will refer the case to the Deputy Public Prosecutor for further instructions. Previously, it was reported that the teenager would be referred for a psychiatric evaluation. Initial investigation suggested the girl's actions were likely due to a disturbed state of mind. Sepang District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Wan Kamarul Azran Wan Yusof said the teenager who was remanded for 2 days was released on police bail on Saturday night. Police apprehended the teenager at the hospital lobby last Thursday and seized scrubs and a hospital lanyard from her. Initial investigations revealed that the teenager had infiltrated the hospital's operating theatre and offered to assist in performing surgeries. And lastly, the body of a disabled elderly woman who has been missing for 5 days was found 30 meters from her home in Kampung Permatang Panjang, Jementah, Segamat. District Deputy Police Chief Deputy Superintendent Eng Swee Chait said the police received information about the discovery at 10:15 a.m. on Sunday. The victim, Zaitun Hamzah, 60 years old, was discovered near a grove of banana trees and is believed to have passed away a few hours earlier. Initial examination found no signs of animal bites or scratches on her body. The body was sent to the Segamat Hospital for an autopsy. The case has been classified as sudden death. Last Wednesday, the victim, who is mentally disabled, was reported to have left her residence at 4:30 p.m. to take a walk before she went missing. And that wraps up this edition of Nightline. We leave you with visuals of athletes leaving the Olympics village on Sunday as Paris gears up for the closing ceremony. It will be staged at the 80,000 capacity start at the front. With that, I'm Muhammed. Hamdan. Have a productive week ahead.